I'll say it. I'm Britannica, and I go by Pink Rose, and I'm addicted to dopamine, social media.
A space of love, a space of healing, and a space of growth. This podcast was created to break generational curses. I'm your host, Pink Rose. Welcome to the Don't Recycle Projects.
Welcome back to the Don't Recycle Projects, the podcast that was created to break generational curses. I am your host, Pink Rose. Thank you once again for just taking the time out of your busy lives and schedules to be right here on the yellow couch with me. Welcome. Today's topic, I'm going to talk about addiction. We have some addictions. I used to think that addiction was like something like really clear to see, like alcohol, drug use, people who are addicted to different substances. And that was like what we considered addiction. But little do we know, a lot of us are addicted to things such as sugar, things such as screen time, social media, mindlessly scrolling, things such as pornography, video games. We have so many addictions like that. It's not a bad thing to like indulge and let yourself, have fun or enjoy experiences. But when you find yourself dependent on these things, like you can't go an entire day without picking those things up or without logging into your social media account or drinking caffeine. Anything that you feel like you need outside of yourself is an addiction. If you feel like you're not in control. So the question is, are you the one who's totally in control, or are your addictions and your pleasure? That's a really good question, because I was like, you know what? I'm going to challenge myself. I'm going to stay off of social media. It was the night before the day I was going to do this. So I'm sitting there. I'm like, you know what? I'm going to stay off social media like all day. I'm just going to like tap in, read, just, really get in tune with myself. And it was the hardest thing in the world to do. It was so hard, just 24 hours. And I honestly didn't even make it to 24 hours. I was like, you know what? It's been 12. Let me just log in and just peek in there and just see what is going on in this world. But it was the hardest thing to do. I'm literally sitting there. I made an amazing breakfast for myself. I cut up some fruit and I'm like, oh, I want to share this. I need somebody to like my meal. I got past that. It went on to lunch and I'm just, I had a cute outfit. I looked good that day. And I was like, I want to share this. Like, the world needs to see my outfit. I made it past that. I didn't log in. I fought the urge. About dinner time, I found myself just sitting there eating my dinner, and I was bored. Like I was like eating on autopilot. Like I found the fork going to my mouth, but I needed something else to like keep me occupied. And I wanted so badly to just log in and just scroll as I'm eating. Like we're in such a space that we're like so bored with like normal activity. Like if you tell like my teenagers, if I tell them just to sit there in the room in silence, they can't do it. Like they need a device to keep them occupied, to keep their brain stimulated. And honestly, to me, that's like a scary place to be when we constantly need stimulation. We see dopamine, it's not a bad thing. It actually has a beautiful role in our bodies. It plays a lot of roles, but some of the main roles, it's a reward center. It's our motivation. It inspires us. It makes us like hop out of bed and say, I'm going to make this happen. Like we need dopamine. Without dopamine, you would actually be very like just tired all the time, like depressed, just kind of like no motivation to do anything. So dopamine is a beautiful thing. However, we know the saying, too much of anything or too little of anything is not good for you. So the problem is too much dopamine, like to the point where regular life seems like this. What is life? Like a regular day with no action, nothing stimulating you, nothing exciting. It's just a regular life as supposed to be. Nothing. It doesn't have to be a super high extreme. And we find that to be boring. Like, we have to go, like, I need to go get drunk. I need to go smoke. Let me log into social media and see what everybody else is doing and watch their highlight reel, because today mine sucks. Or let me play this video game to get get my energy up and get excited, or just feel that feeling of excitement. That's the part that I feel like is detrimental to us. We're so used to just feeling like we're, always stimulated. It's even crazy how, like, dopamine's even related to, like, certain mental illnesses, like schizophrenia. It's literally like you're hallucinating because there's just too much stimulus going off in your brain. That hormone is just too much. Studies have shown, they have yet to, fully pinpoint what causes schizophrenia, but they are thinking that dopamine has a lot to do with it. Even ADHD. That's when you don't have enough dopamine. So you take drugs like methylphenidate, aka Ritalin, just to give your body more dopamine so that you can focus and pay attention. So dopamine it's a beautiful hormone that our body produces. Again, when it's used in moderation, it kicks in like with our fight or flight response. It helps us like narrow in and focus and gives us something to be, excited. It creates that excitement, that inspiration. But as you can see, when it's too much or too little, that's when you begin to have diseases and disorders, and you need other, medication, because your body doesn't know how to regulate itself. Dopamine is actually, something that our body naturally produces. So it's something that you have within you already. People do cocaine to get like this instant hits, like a massive hit of dopamine, like that feeling of just like euphoria. Like, that's why people do cocaine and different illicit drugs. But the problem is with that is now you have this threshold that your body creates that you have to go to that kind of extreme to feel pleasure. So again, normal life just seems like, why? What is this? This is not enough. And it's just regular life. So now you have to go to these extremes to find pleasure. And it's instant. So we get this idea that we can just get pleasure instantly. If I do this, instantly I get pleasure from it. Instantly I'm rewarded. Versus, let me eat healthy. Let me get the proper sleep. Let me work out. These are things that naturally produce dopamine within our bodies. But the difference is it's a delayed gratification, which in this society, we're not used to waiting. We're not used to waiting on stuff. Like, we want things right now. I want to feel good right now. I'm sad and I don't want to get to the bottom of why I feel sad. So I want it right now. I don't really love myself. I don't really feel good about myself. I don't want to take the proper steps to develop my self-esteem so that no matter what, I feel good about myself. So I'm going to log in and let social media do it for me temporarily, because trust me, it is temporary. It does not last. You can look at those likes and loves and comments, and it's only a temporary feeling. The same way as cocaine, the same way as sugar, the same way as video gaming or pornography. Anything that quickly gives you this hit of dopamine, it's only temporary. Versus you learning how to, for one, just be able to have normal days without these highs, super highs. Therefore, you're not living life in extremes. You're just able to live and be present for each moment without looking for like some reward system at the end of every little thing you do. I got dressed. I need a reward for that. Look what I'm eating. Give me a reward for that. Took a picture. I'm hanging out with my kids. Should I get a reward for that? Like, I think that is like, social media is a beautiful thing. Don't get me wrong. So I'm not going to stay stuck on social media. Take a drink out of my don't recycle mug. So don't let me get stuck on social media. However, it's a beautiful tool. You can connect with people across the world instantly. You can connect with family, in different states. You can market your business, sell your products. I'm sharing this podcast with you all because of social media. It's a beautiful tool. But when you go to social media for things like, hey, I don't have the highest self-esteem, so I'm living my life through this highlight reel I'm creating for you guys to, think of me as something that I'm really not in real life. That's the problem. It's like creating a false self instead of really doing the work in real life to become that person. So it's like you get the reward for basically not really doing the work. And And I think that's the most detrimental part of social media. It's taking away from us really doing the work for ourselves, sitting with ourselves, being patient with the process of healing and feeling that gratification, having something to be rewarded for. There's even a psychology and science behind the likes on social media and why the notifications appear red. Red evokes emotion. Red makes you excited. There's like literally psychology behind the colors they choose to use. So when that gives you like an emotion, that actually gives you a little spark of dopamine just by seeing you have 5 notifications. You get excited about that. Oh my God, somebody loves me. Somebody likes what I posted. Somebody's watching. So you get used to that. And now you kind of log in just to feel that little bit. And little by little, you become more and more dependent on that feeling. Marketing is crazy. They actually use a lot of different colors. Green signifies health, serenity, tranquility. So you see like a lot of eco-friendly companies using green. It just is supposed to evoke these different emotions. There is definitely a reason why Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, why they have chosen red. It makes you stop and pay attention. Again, it evokes like emotional feelings. It excites you. That's one of the things that I really dislike about social media. And just our phones in general, this access to this like other world, like we're missing out on this world around us because we're so like engaged in this like phone world or iPads or whatever electronic device. So it's like, my thing is like, it's not so much the dopamine. Like the dopamine's a beautiful thing. It's the why behind why we need so much dopamine. Like what are we searching for in these drugs or in these experiences? Like, what if we were to just create a life in real life and just live this life that is beautiful so that we don't have to use so many things to escape to, and we're not so empty and looking for other devices. It's crazy. The word device means literally a method, a plan, or a trick to achieve a particular aim. Like to me, that's like, when you think about that, like a cell phone device, like, so I don't know what the method or the plan is. Like, I don't know what the creators, I don't even know if they intended it. I don't think they intended for, us to just be like so engaged. Knowing the science behind dopamine and how the screen can just become so like, you're just so just in it all day long. Like they had to know that, this would keep people's attention to the extent that it does. So it's really distracting us from our actual lives. It's not, again, a bad thing. Social media is not a bad thing. Everything's about balance, moderation. When it becomes the replacement for actual work being done in your real life, instead of hitting the gym and finding ways to get dopamine to produce itself naturally in your body, you find artificial ways to do it. That's the bad part. It's taking away from the actual real work being done in real life, in real time, and having to wait for things. Everything is not instant. You can't just get everything instantly. Feel good instantly. Find out why you're feeling sad and sit with it and go into that. But if you like, you know what, I feel sad, let me hurry up and go like log into social media so I can feel better. Like that's not good. That's now become an addiction, and you're no better than somebody who is on cocaine. I'll say it. I'm Britannica. And I go by Pink Rose, and I'm addicted to dopamine. I'm addicted to social media. That's the first part, is awareness. And as I become more aware, I'm not sitting on this couch in front of you guys as like an expert or know-it-all, only somebody that's becoming more and more aware of myself. And I feel like it's my job to make others aware. Check your screen time. Like that's what's crazy. The phones actually send us the numbers. Like, I don't know why. I don't know why they're doing it. Maybe they're trying to help design this device to be very, very, very entertaining. However, this is your numbers. Like, what is the point of sending me screen time when you designed this to keep me just engaged all day long? So what is the point of sending me the numbers with no solution behind it? They're only making apps more and more apps, more and more entertaining. They come out with a new phone like every 6 months. I think they're like on 16 now. I think 15 just came out. They're already talking about 16. Like what do we need all these phones for? Like, how many devices do we need, and how often do we have to replace them? Better cameras so we can take more pictures of ourselves and look at ourselves. I'm preaching to myself as well, by the way, because I am someone who very much struggles with my screen time. I am somebody who I've gotten away from like logging into social media right when I wake up, but it's by 11:30 noon, I'm kind of inching like, let me see what's going on in the cyber world. I don't even know why. Like, I don't know what has me so intrigued or what I'm looking for. People that I don't even know, I'm just so intrigued by their lives and just intrigued by this world we've all created in that world, to the point where we'll miss out on actual moments. Like with our real life, we're making memories on Instagram, Facebook, and in our phones, but missing the actual moment in real life. That's the part. So I want you guys to do a challenge. I'm challenging anybody who's watching this, anybody who follows me. We're going to do a detox on dopamine. I'm just challenging y'all to 5 days. I'm not saying don't get dopamine. I'm not saying go all. There's no way you can not have dopamine, right? It's just something your body naturally produces. You can't help it, right? But how often you give into your pleasures. I want you to become aware. Are you controlling your pleasures and addiction? Are they or are they addictions? It's one thing to say, hey, I enjoy this, I like this, but if somebody took it from you, you're not attached to that feeling or that thing. You know how to fill yourself up without that thing, without that substance. So the challenge is go 5 days, just 5 moments. It could be maybe 5 moments in the day, 5 moments that you would normally usually scroll or whatever it is that you use for dopamine, your hit, where you get your hit from. I get mine from social media. So not to give y'all all my information, but times like when I'm on the toilet in the bathroom, that's my little dopamine moment. Like, what's going on? Times when I'm sitting at the table eating, it's my dopamine moment. Let me see what's going on. Times when I even use dopamine while I'm supposed to be getting real dopamine. I'll go to the gym just so I can post that I'm at the gym. It has to be lacking somewhere. Back to the detox. 5 days, 5 or more moments throughout that day that you can honestly say, I would have logged in, or I would have went and ate, even though I wasn't even truly hungry. I just felt like I needed to put something in my mouth. Anything you use for dopamine, 5 of those moments. And don't indulge. Don't give in to the craving. Sit with yourself. Just maybe write down your feelings in that moment. Like, do you feel anxious? Do you feel like antsy? Like, what do you feel when you gave that up? Like, you feel like you're missing something, missing out on something? Like, what is it in that moment that you feel like you just had to have that? And what were you looking for? What were you looking for from that feeling? So I'm in the challenge with you guys. I'm going to go 5 days with just trying to curb my cravings. I guess you could say curb my addictions, limit myself. I don't think pleasure is a bad thing. I think pleasure is a beautiful thing. It's a beautiful experience. But again, back to too much of anything. Too much of anything, too much pleasure gives you this false sense of reality that we're supposed to always be in this pleasurable experience. Life is not supposed to have any lows, to the point that when it's not pleasure, it feels like a low, when it's actually just regular life. The fact that it's not like this super exciting, feel good, orgasmic moment, you feel like something's wrong or something's off. So just being able to reset ourselves so that we can be present, so that we can stop looking outside of ourselves to just be so extreme in our feelings and our emotions. Challenge yourself, challenge your friends, challenge your family, challenge your kids. I'm gonna challenge my kids. I'm on them all the time. It really saddens me. The kids these days, I just feel like they're born into this. So this is their norm. They don't even really go outside and play. All they do is scroll. And I guess where we as the parents created these habits, and we're no better when they see us doing the same thing, but we've created this. We've given them phones. I didn't get my first phone until I was 16, and the only thing I had on my phone, it was one of those little blue Nokia. I think it was a Nokia where you had to press the number 3 times to get to each letter. But anyway, only thing I had on my phone was Snake, and that was it. That was the entertainment, or a phone call or a text message. My phone was not going off all day long. There was not a million dings. It was literally Snake or a text message or a phone call. And that was probably after 7 o'clock. because the way the bill was set up back then, call me after 7 o'clock. And I only have so many text messages to send. So yeah, hit me on MySpace. But anyway, yeah. So these kids, we are kind of the reason behind why, like just why they're so, electronics are their thing. Like that's the new age, that's the new age thing. And it kind of scares me. People literally fabricate their lives for others to like them or like their life instead of genuinely enjoying their lives. I know people in real life, and I'm not going to mention any names, but I know people in real life whose cyber life, it's like there has to be some kind of like mental illness. There has to be. For them to really, participate in creating this life on social media. And then they go back to their real life and it just don't add up. And it's like you spend all that time doing that for social media when you could have actually taken the time to really live that life that you clearly dream. So let's detox from dopamine. Let's just see how you feel. Do it for you. Like, see how you feel without needing to give into your pleasures, and see how much more content you'll feel with just like the simple things. Like life's not all about extreme highs, knowing how to fill ourselves up and working for those pleasurable moments, earning those pleasurable moments and rewards. So yeah, take the 5-day dopamine detox with me. I'm gonna check in. I'll post if you follow me or the Don't Recycle Project on IG. I'll be posting my progress, what it looks like for me, how I'm holding up on my end. I'm gonna challenge my kids too. Please challenge your family, your friends. But yeah, that's today's topic. Are you controlling your pleasures, or are they truly addictions? That's a real question to ask yourself. And that's been the topic of the day. This will be, I'm gonna talk about this one for more than one episode. So we're gonna really dig into just addictions and how those things can show up in our lives. So again, thank you for taking the time to join me. Please continue to recycle your environmental waste like plastic, metal, anything else. Please follow us on IG at Don't Recycle Projects. Thank you again. Blessings.